I'm Vinod Sharma. I'm Senior Professor in Disaster Management. And in this session, we will be discussing climate change and disaster risk reduction. I think you might be knowing about climate change by now, and there is a separate stream on climate smart governance, so you might be knowing that how important is the climate change and how it is now included in governance basically, because the life is affected by climate change. Our agriculture is affected, our urban areas are affected, they become heat centers, and our health is affected by climate change. And same is disasters. The frequency of hazards, the magnitude of hazard, the losses because of this, the hazard becoming disasters because of climate change. And the most important thing is that the areas, because we have vulnerability atlas for the country, we know that how much area is flood prone, we know how much area is drought prone, but today the flood prone area become drought prone area, because we never know that the rainfall will be the same or it will be more. When it will be there, it will be, sometimes the rainfall within a day is equivalent to the whole year's rainfall. So I think this kind of thing, unprecedented events are happening and they are causing disasters. This started from Mumbai, 2005, when we witnessed that in one day, in 24 hours, 99 centimeter rainfall happens. Never happened in the history of Mumbai. We never witnessed, IMD has given us information that this is never happened in the history of, we have more than 200 years data, but 99 centimeter rainfall, 990 millimeter, it's huge rainfall. And that's why there was enormous economic loss, life loss, and life was standstill for several days. After that, we can give examples in each and every state where climate change impact is obvious. In Himachal Pradesh, the frequency of cloud burst is increased. In Sikkim, there are more, forest fire. In Uttarakhand, we have seen that the Chorabari lake, burst, and ultimately we could see floods in 2013. And everywhere, Gujarat, I think Gujarat is drought prone area, but this become flood prone area nowadays. From several years, you will see that there is intense rainfall and all the, our dams, and they are full, and they are causing sometimes problem, as it has happened in Surat in 2006. So I think there are many examples, but in this session we would like to see climate change and disaster risk reduction in different parts of this country. We will see the Himalayan region, and in Himalayan region there are 2-3 issues which we would like to discuss in this session. One is that whole Himalaya is full of glacial lakes, and these glacial lakes, we know that because of climate change the glaciers are receding and glacial lakes are increasing, and these glacial lakes, in case they burst, then the habitation in Himalaya, that will be affected. Agriculture will be affected. The development which is going on in Himalayan region, that will be affected. So this is one which is very important, and we have many examples. In Sikkim, for example, Lonak Lake and other lakes, which are increased, 6 to 10 times than the normal volume. So what should be done? So this is one. Second is forest fire, which is increasing. And forest is, on one side we have Green India Mission, in which we are increasing the green cover, and on other side we are having forest fire, which is giving enormous loss to the vegetation, and This is there in Uttarakhand, this is there in Himachal Pradesh, this is there in Sikkim, this is there in all northeastern states. So this is another issue. Third issue is that landslides, because the intensity of rainfall has increased. The amount of rainfall is not increased, but the number of rainy days reduced, and the intensity, if you see the droplets, the size of droplet has increased. And that's why if there is an intense rainfall and if there is no vegetation, then it will increase the landslides. Then we will come to another important area which is called as our coastal belt. And in coastal area, one is that the frequency of cyclone is increasing. Earlier we were having 3 to 4 cyclones. The calendar was there, people were prepared for that, but now this calendar is no more valid, It can happen in any month, and the frequency has increased. So this is one. Second thing is that when we are saying that sea level change or sea level rise, 1 centimeter rise, there is ingression of sea about 1 meter. So 1 centimeter rise in sea level, 1 meter land is encroached. And that's why all our coastal states, and Odisha is very good example, where some villages, there are 7 villages which is called as Satbhaya, and some of the villages are already in the sea. So this kind of scene we are seeing because of climate change. So we will see that our agricultural lands are affected, our people who are living in the coastal area, that is affected, and of course we have some livelihood things which people are doing, that is affected. So this is another aspect which is important. The third one is the central India, which is having floods and droughts, and as I told you that some part which is totally flood prone, and we know it, we do this exercise every time. So either the flood frequency has increased, or the area is increased, or there is no flood but there is drought in that area. So this kind of examples are there. So I think the cloud burst, the thunder lightning. So thunder lightning is killing so many people nowadays, which was not there earlier. So I think all these things are important, and we should know it. In this session, we will give few case studies. We can start this case study from Jammu and Kashmir, where the agriculture is affected. Now the apple, which is their livelihood, the people, the farmers, they are moving upward because there is no flowering in the apple orchard. So they are going up because the temperature increase is there in that. So on lesser temperature they are growing apple, and that's why the alpine region is occupied by the farming. And this is change, in the landscape in Jammu and Kashmir. We can give examples of Himachal Pradesh, where cloud burst is very important phenomena, and causing lot of loss, to the farmers and to the cities. We will discuss urban risk, and because of climate change, these heat centers and people's health and everything is affected. We can see examples of Northeast, any state you take, and the impact on agriculture, the impact on forestry, the impact on, so this is visible. And in plain areas, we can give n number of examples where I think the life is affected. So it's not agriculture, it is not, and that's why we say that now it should be mainstream. Now the climate change and disasters, they should be studied together. And in Sikkim, we are trying that climate change and disaster risk reduction, there should be one plan for it. every district is having district disaster management plan, every district is having a plan for climate change. The state is having two plans, one is for disaster management and one is action plan for climate change. There is a need that these two plans should be merged together, and because the actions are the same. Actions are mitigation, action and adaptation, and unless and until we combine them together, I think we cannot achieve what we want to achieve. At national level, we have a national action plan for climate change, which was formed long back, and it's about 10-11 years ago. It is having missions which is dealing with the there is a green mission, there is energy mission, there is so there are about 8 missions, but there is no mission which is dealing with climate change and disaster risk, which is very important. And there is a time when we should work on this, that how we can reduce risk, how risk reduction or disaster risk reduction can be part of the climate action network or strategy which we are making for the nation, for the state, for the districts, and up to the panchayat level. People should be educated that how climate change is affecting their life and what adaptation are required and what should be done in specific states and specific places. So I think this session will be very interesting because it will be dealing with the few case studies, some of the experiences in India, and maybe we can discuss some experiences from foreign countries or from other countries. Thank you.